Hello everyone, welcome to chapter 120 on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. It is the weekend edition again, and this time I'm sitting in front of my table saw and I've got my air saw, so something's going to happen here. And if you want to see what that is, you know what to do. All you have to do is stay tuned. I started doing some of the work. So basically what I'm going to do today is, and I've already got a bit of a head start here, I cut a hole where the power is going to come to the switch, and I drilled a hole in here. We're going to drill a hole that I can use a half-inch NPT or half-inch pipe threaded piece that goes in there, and I'm going to weld a bracket together that holds the box, and we're going to hook it all up and paint it all, and hopefully that's going to happen in the weekend edition. So stay tuned. Like I said, we are going to have some action. All right, I'm preparing to drill the hole that I need to tap with half-inch pipe thread. Sorry, you can't see me here. I'm getting into position, and with the camera the way it is, I'm not sure how much of me you're going to see, but I started a hole with a unibit, and we're just going to drill through with this 11/16 bit. Whew, hot shavings. We're just about there. There we go. That's that. Now, I drilled a hole, and I've actually run the tap through it once already because this was not quite as easy to do as I'd hoped. This is a half-inch pipe thread NPT tap, and I had to use, this is my wrench, and yeah, it went in quite well once I got it going. This requires an odd-sized drill hole to get it started, and I forget what it was, 43/64 or something like that. No, 45/64. And I don't have a bit like that, so I drilled an 11/16 hole, which is a little less, and then I tapered this end a little bit, but that just didn't work. I wasn't close enough. So I kind of went for broke. And I took my die grinder and I went around it a couple times, and that seems to have worked. This, like I say, is a little harder than what I thought it should be. But I think I have decent threads. That's the main thing here, because I've already threaded the stub into it that's going to hold the switch. Come on, got a little crooked there. Okay, let's, do I have that? Okay, yep, there it is. Okay, so this is a 3.5-inch long piece of half-inch pipe. And there, that seems to work pretty good. Now I'm going to build a bracket on here and put the box on there, and life will be wonderful. Okay, I'll be back in a bit. Well, the one thing that didn't go right for me today, actually that was one of those days. I maybe should have just put this aside and away we went. but the pressure of YouTube got to me. Uh, that air saw that I had, and I think I talk about that later on in this video, was a piece of junk. It is now residing in the garbage, and it's going to go to landfill. It doesn't work properly. Uh, I went and invested $25 in a hole saw, and then realized it took a different mandrel than what I had, and I figured I'd spent enough money. So I went to my cabinet and got my jigsaw out, and 2 or 3 blades later I had it cut, but it wasn't very nice and round, so I went in with a die grinder and cleaned it up a bit. But then I made it a little bit too big for the stock plastic insert, so I turned another one. But I had to take off the hand wheel there to get the jigsaw in. But other than that, it worked fairly good. I guess the hole that's there, I do need a place to hang the miter gauge. And, oops, okay, that's going to fall over. And this was kind of interesting. You just take the magnet off, and there it is. This piece is obviously not going to work in there, so I think further down the road I may cut a piece, but this might be what works, because like I said, I need a place to store this anyway. It's a little close, sorry. It's a little close to the hand wheel, but we'll figure that out yet. Or if I maybe hang it the other way, whatever. That could kind of work. So it covers the hole up. And I pull the cord through. I think it's going to work really nicely. And it's going to hook up. The hole in the rail is right here. So I took a ruler and lined the hole up with the side of the saw. So, and I think another thing that I'm going to fabricate for the switch yet is one of those big paddle on-off or off switches that I can operate with my knee. Because right now, see, that's what I was used to with our saw stop. I could turn it off with my knee, which I like. So anyway, just thought I'd show you that. Sometimes you want things to go well when you're working on a project, but they just don't. So, okay, we'll get into the next part of the video. Zero. Well, Saturday evening. It's been kind of a long day. Although Saturday is a good day because that's when we have coffee in my shop here in the afternoon, which is always a lot of fun. Get together with some people. So this is the switch that I took off of my saw a little while ago. And here's the bracket that I made. Now I was going to show you some of this, but my shop is kind of full and dragging the welder out, and I had to weld outside, and anyway, there's all kinds of excuses. But so what it is I'm just going to take these off. So it's basically a T. See if I can show you that. I'm not even sure what I ended up with for measurements here. Let me get a tape measure quickly. I always carry one. Okay, so I'm now at about 2 3/4 inches, which is good. So I'm going to be probably at about 2 1/8 when this is installed in the saw, in the rail of the saw. And that's good. I think that's going to be just fine. So it's 1/2 inch pipe thread, or 1/2 inch pipe thread here, 1/2 inch pipe. And then it goes in here like that. I made it just a little longer, and I don't see a problem with that. And I made these. I took a coupling, and I just cut it apart with my angle grinder and a cutting disc. I just thought that would be better than these cheesy things. So there's quite a difference in heft. So this will be the hard part, getting this all together. I'm just going to do a little bit of a dry run for you here. This all needs to be painted yet. So well, anyway, I'll worry about that when I'm serious about getting it done. So this is 1/8 inch by, it looks like 1.5 inch plate, just took a little piece. And these are threaded pieces off of, okay, the one was the other end of this piece, and the other one I cut a union in half. So that's goes on like that. Now the other thing that I did is I screwed this into the threads that I cut on the table saw rail as far as it would go and tightened it up a little bit, and then I marked it. I took a marker and made a mark on the plate, and that way I can index this. So when this gets around to being tight, it's going to clock this way, because this one is longer than this one, because this has, okay, this is going to be, I think we're going to have issues as it is. This cord comes in the back, and that's going to be a little bit of a challenge getting this all to fit together, but it's going to be tight and facing the right direction when I'm done. So that's a good thing to have happen. Now, okay, what else was I going to say here? This is going to get painted yet, and I don't really have the right color for this, but perhaps someday I will. The other thing that I ran into is I had to make a cover for where the cord comes through the table saw base. I had to cut a hole in the sheet metal, and you saw me playing around with my air saw in the introduction to this video. That air saw is useless. I have since put it in the garbage where it belongs. It does not work. So I ended up taking my jigsaw and a metal cutting blade and cutting around, and then just trying to make it a little rounder with the die grinder. And the plastic piece that was in there didn't have as much of a step on it to put in as I thought, and it falls in now. So it's not good enough. So I made this. This inside here is the diameter of the hole. Now the hole isn't quite perfectly round, so I'm going to have to fit this with the die grinder again tomorrow. But this needs to get painted black. And the other thing that I did, and I don't have the original here, on the original the hole is about 2 inches. It's big, it's a big hole, and I thought, well, I'm going to go with half that, because eventually I want to seal that table saw base off to help with dust collection. So I'm going to paint this black. This is just a nice piece of birch that I turned here in a couple of minutes. And we'll put that on and paint it black, and it'll look like it was part of the saw. So anyway, that's kind of what I did today. I think that's going to work out fine. I did have some trouble tapping holes because I didn't have the right size bit to drill the initial hole so I could tap it. And rather than go too large, I went too small, and that caused a lot of problems. So I think now I've never used an NPT pipe tap before, and now I'm much more familiar with it. So, okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off the threads, and I'm going to paint this thing. The paint color that I have, well, you'll see it on tomorrow's video, because I'm going to paint everything tonight, and then I'm going to try to get everything assembled tomorrow. I may not get everything hooked up because the weekend edition is already running kind of late. I've just been busy. So anyway, I'm going to get this done, and then we'll show you what we show you. Well, it's mid-Sunday afternoon. The weekend edition is dragged on a lot longer than I had planned for it to do. I do have the switch kind of in place, but to get this out today, I thought, no, it's time to get to a certain point and then wrap it up. Most of the stuff that is of any importance is done. And I'm just going to talk about that a little bit. And I think what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to take my camera off the stand and I'm going to bring you in a little closer so you can see what happened. Okay, we'll do that now. All right, well, there it is, the switch that's been moved. There's a few things I really like. First of all, this clearance here. I will no longer be running my knuckles into the switch itself. The mounting worked out quite nicely. I managed to get a hole drilled and tapped, and had I been doing this from scratch, I would have done things differently. Having the power, having the power come in the back like this up high is a real problem. Had I done it, it would come in the bottom, because now I can't really get a fastener on to hold this side tight. So it's kind of, it's not quite as stable as I'd like it to be. And part of it's my fault. I put some foam in here to insulate, and it allows it to move back and forth. Can you see that? To me, that's a bit much. I may take this apart. It's not hard to do. I haven't wired anything in here yet. This is just for a photo op here to try to put things back together, and that's I may take that apart, take that foam out, because it leads to a little instability I didn't anticipate. The hole that I carved was just a tad too big, so I had to make a new insert. I turned that's birch, and I just spray painted it black so it looks good, and it's about the right diameter. But what I'm going to have to do is, I think on the inside of the cabinet, anchor this cable so this stays the same here all the time, because I can push this switch in and out with the cable, and I need to deal with that yet too. But other than that, I think this is going to be exactly what I needed. The other thing that is maybe a little bit of an issue, it's a little further out than I anticipated. Although I think when I get used to that, it's going to be just fine. So taking a look at it from this side, you can see everything I did. The paint match, actually that's a baby blue paint. It's not even a gray, but it's the closest thing I could find to this saw, and that doesn't really matter. I don't think anybody's really going to notice it under there. Would it have been better if I'd have made this bracket go behind and encase the switch? Then I could have screwed it on the back. That might make it a bit more stable, and who knows, that this isn't quite finished yet. So, but I'm going to edit this video and get it out, and then during the week I'm going to come back and do the wiring. Everything else should work. So once I get the wiring done, this will all be just fine. So now that you've had a chance to see it all, we're going to close this off. Well, it's a little late for the weekend edition to get out, but like I said, this was a little bit more work than I anticipated, but I think this is the right way to go. Now I have the bulk of the work done. Now I'm going to fine tune. And you know what? When I think about all the projects that I do that I don't really know what to do, I kind of start, I go with what I think, and then if that works, and I think I'm pretty close here actually, then I'm going to just fine tune until I get what I want. So this, even now the way it sits, is 100% better than having it here. So once I get it all wired up and it all should be good, it looks like everything's going to work here. I even managed to hide that other hole in a creative way, which I showed you earlier. So anyway, remember to please like, share, and subscribe. I think we're at about 450 subscribers, so I'd really like to get Frosty out of my house. So if you'd like Frosty at 500 subscribers, please make a comment on the video, say I want Frosty, and we'll get that going. And I've been thinking about the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. Hopefully, I'd really like to get to that this year. I'm not sure if that'll happen, but whatever happens, happens. So remember, like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you towards the end of this week. Have a good week, everybody.